let me move on for a minute and cover our work, Esri's work. As you know, we are a growing and vital organization. Perhaps you didn't know it. We have thousands of workers that are focused entirely on two things. One is advancing the geospatial technologies that you use, and also supporting you in various forms. And we do this in the form of our product, ArcGIS, and also a series of GeoEnable Systems. Our product strategy for 2020 is laid out in this diagram. It's anchored in ArcGIS, supporting the GIS community in traditional ways, but it's also anchored in supporting an emerging community of location, services, and mapping, and also some location analytics, and also developers. Our strategy is to open further and simplify further our development opportunities so that the whole new generation of developers in the world can have access to not only the data but also the tools that GIS has offered you as professionals in the past. This will change things as well. And then over on the right, you'll notice a series of GeoEnable Systems. I'll talk more about these in a moment, but they are more focused application suites that respond to particular things like urban planning or mission planning. And our strategy is to both continue to deliver software for implementation on your infrastructure, but also increasingly offer SaaS in various ways. Now, ArcGIS is advancing. I show various versions of this slide year after year, and things keep changing. It's influenced and affected by many different trends. One is increasing volumes of data and new types of data. I'll just call your attention to point clouds at scale, as effectively filled in by LiDAR measurements. In the computing space, we're driven not only by faster machines, but also increasingly distributed microservices and cloud-native kinds of opportunities. And finally, by science. Here, I'm talking about not only integrating open science, but also building new algorithms, and you'll see some of this later this morning, for spatial temporal analytics. I'll call your attention to, or I'd like to highlight one particular initiative that is operating in the background and has been for a few years with us, and that is making ArcGIS cloud native. This will improve the ease of deployment of our tools, both services and software, as well as their management and also their scalability. And we're doing this in two areas. One of them is by introducing this year, starting the first at this very conference, new online services. These are cloud-native services for analysis of IoT information, the hosting of imagery and online cloud-native analytics, and finally, a new class of location services for developers. Number two is, for some time, we've been building a new version of ArcGIS Enterprise. This will be released about the end of this year, which is built on Kubernetes. Kubernetes allow us to deploy ArcGIS Enterprise in microservice settings, meaning it'll scale out enormously, and also allow us to implement this on virtually any cloud, any environment. Well, if we step back for a moment at ArcGIS, we'll be reminded perhaps by this slide that it is, at this point, a completely services-based system that's open and supports distributed implementation, easily customized, easily extended. And this platform organizes and manages many types of geographic knowledge, data and maps, models, and also through identity management, individuals and organizations, groups, and so on. This is often called the portal on enterprise implementations, but the portal is also part of ArcGIS Online. This portal technology is pretty important because it allows us to interrelate different systems and build this thing called geospatial infrastructure out. I think if I look back on my entire career, there has been no single one technology that's been as important as the Portal technology implementation inside of ArcGIS. It's instrumental to bring it all together at scale. ArcGIS supports three kinds of systems, and these are the systems that many of you build. The data management system, sometimes called a system of record keeping, transactionally oriented. A system of analytics, or some people call it insights. This is spatial analysis. And then finally, a system of engagement. I like these categories because they are actually different categories that we think about all the time. But ArcGIS is actually one system. It allows you to manage your data, analyze your data, and then make it accessible through maps and apps in various ways. And the fact that it is one system means that we don't have to have three kinds of technologies. We actually are operating in one environment. And this has been designed as being an open platform. And with collaboration with the OGC and also partnering with other standards organizations, we have pushed this notion year after year, supporting open standards, supporting open APIs for access of our tools, supporting the open communities, open sourcing some of our technology, and making it customizable or configurable dynamically. This has been important for our users, and it's because you operate in complex, heterogeneous environments. How can we make this work successfully in those spaces? So we're all on this as a continued commitment to you. ArcGIS actually is deployed in 4 different patterns. I used to say 3 different patterns with the desktop and the server, enterprise server, and with cloud ArcGIS Online. This 4th pattern I've been talking about now for some time is this notion of interconnecting using Portal with a system of systems, all the distributed services. You kind of get this idea? That the 4th one is actually an overlay on the other 3 and allows us to search and see where the content is and access the content and then use it. So while we define these as 4 separate patterns, in fact, they're just one platform. It's continuous in nature. I'm going to now move on to a very quick review of what we've been up to at Esri with respect to increasing capabilities. And some of you know we spend about 30% of our revenue on R&D. I'm going to give you the highlights of some of the results of that R&D in pretty fast, rapid form. Is that okay? Yes? Okay. No, okay. I need you a little pulse out here. First, I'm going to start with content. Esri has invested millions and millions every year into building ready-to-use content. A lot of this is data from you that has been provided to us, and we've organized it into almost like dial tones. There are over 7,000 layers of information, rich information on demographics and environmental stuff that just keeps getting better. This last year, we've been improving by adding this library by adding some new things. For example, OpenStreetMap updated every few minutes. The new nature serves imperiled species information. We'll hear more about that tomorrow. But just lots of new imagery that's available to you, including all of the A16 layers. So I'm going to just say thanks for sharing your data and then allowing us to serve it back. We've made some improvements in smart mapping. This is an area of mapping that excites me mostly because it allows us to have interactive cartographic displays sort of on demand. We've added some new types like the new dot density mapping and predominance mapping. Just beautiful work that enhance cartography and enhance the work of cartographers. I'd like to introduce a concept to you for a moment. In the upper right, you'll see this thing called exploratory mapping. With the new web browser in ArcGIS Online, this capability allows us to change legends and explore cartographic data or explore data interactively. We used to call this exploratory spatial analysis. And I just want you to pause for a moment. This will have to come to you in your own, at your own time, but this is different. This is not about making a beautiful map that then gets printed and used. It's actually using the map as a frame to create insight in your own brain, changing the fields and the classifications to the thresholds of class, and exploring the data in a kind of a liquid way. Only possible through web mapping, and particularly web mapping that's extremely fast and thematic in nature. We've been making advancements in cartography with new tools. The big news here is ArcGIS Pro supports the color management, or for some of you who do printing, spot color effectively, and then lots of other tools in the form of generalization and textures and so on. I may have mentioned it before, I think I did, that over 1 million story maps were produced last year, and billions are now being used, looked at every week. Last year, we introduced a new version of story maps. This is like next generation, and I'd invite you all to look at it. It's much simpler to make maps, simpler to publish, and it also includes cartographic capability right within it, called Express Maps. In the lower right, you'll notice a word. It's a new user role. So story maps, rather than consuming a full role, will have a very inexpensive, or has a very inexpensive role for making story maps across the organization. This is, again, this attempt to democratize the ability to make stories anywhere, everywhere. In the world of editing and data management, lots of things going on. 3D editing improvements, stronger industry data models, and in the lower right, the support for cloud-native databases as well as traditional databases. And then for some of you interested in engineering, the whole integration with Autodesk is allowing Autodesk users to get ArcGIS Online's and ArcGIS Enterprise's services fed right into the engineering lifecycle. It's been really a worthwhile partnership on many fronts. In the area of field operations, most of you will immediately go to the thought, oh, that's collector, or even survey 1, 2, 3. In the last year, we added a new quick capture capability where you can go along and use your thumb to capture data as you're even driving. It's a real quick way to grab information, put it right into the cloud or into your enterprise system. And we also introduced, finally, something called location tracking. This is an enterprise-focused way to track employees or individuals that belong to an organization in the hours that they choose to be tracked. This is very useful in emergency management, and especially our public safety users are enjoying it, but also in government, saying, hey, look, I want you to look after me during 9 o'clock till 12 o'clock in case a storm comes or that sort of thing. Lots of new tools and 3D visualization, special effects, new symbology types, edge rendering, LiDAR support at scale. The new I3S standard is supported and shown in this particular display. We worked very closely with OGC and all of our colleagues in other software companies to introduce this new standard, which is very promising for visualization. Not only 3D visualization, but 3D analytics keep pushing the envelope. And we're moving into volumetric visualization. This summer we will support and introduce a whole new generation of this, dealing with 3D voxels. Our approach on 3D is not to just do it in one application, but to do the implementation of 3D viz and analytics across the entire platform, all apps. That means Pro, City Engine, and ArcGIS Earth, a brand new, beautiful application that's free. And the Scene Viewer, the web JavaScript-based visualization tool. Speaking about ArcGIS Earth, this is a lightweight desktop tool that allows you to easily visualize and fly through 3D environments. It's also totally native to devices, iOS and Android environments. It operates in a connected and disconnected environment. And many of you have been asking for this. We've been working with some of you, particularly the Army Corps, for years to get the feature function exactly right for supporting different applications. Location analytics is a term that we refer to looking at spatial analysis in a simple way. Our product here is ArcGIS Insights, and this just keeps getting better. You can see these charts and graphs, interactive charts and graphs, displaying a whole variety of different subjects. Very popular application in the law enforcement and intel environment, but also growing steam in just land use planning environments and forest management as well. Here, we're adding to this system the whole idea of doing link analysis. And coming in the future will be the ability to support graph databases for not only visualization, but also analytics as well. Going a little deeper with analytics, there are a number of new tools that have been added to the toolboxes for charting, spatial statistics, raster functions, and for some of you, a lot of improved processing capabilities, like taking your tool history, like you're putting in commands, and it, I don't want to say memorizes it, but it encapsulates your interactive work and puts it into a model. Isn't that cool? You're supposed to say yes, but I'm testing you to see if you're awake. The opposite thing can be done is taking a model and turning it into Python script. And then we're working on making things more scalable, not just in the enterprise servers, but putting scalability functions, that is parallel processing functions, into the desktop for large raster processing. And then a lot of work in deep learning tools. Going in that direction, I'll simply point out that last year we introduced ArcGIS notebooks at this conference. These are Jupyter notebooks for integrating and modeling and automating different kinds of function. And they cover a broad spectrum of different applications. We first introduced these as a notebook server, which meant that you could do ArcPy kind of functions in a server environment. Later, actually the end of last year, beginning of this year, actually released at this conference is the same notebook capability implemented in ArcGIS Pro. And it will be coming soon in ArcGIS Online as well. Do you guys understand the gravity of this? This is really an amazing, amazing capability for sharing and automating a lot of your work. Along that same line, we've been continuing our work in AI, machine learning, and deep learning capabilities in two areas. First, in ArcGIS itself, introducing tools for machine learning right within the platform. And some of these deal with advanced spatial statistical tools. But also through notebooks and also with direct connections, integrating with these large number of open source, open science environments for being able to do big cloud-based operations with the data. In this role, ArcGIS, either in the desktop, for example, or on the web, can be used to develop training models to send over to these large computation environments where AI and machine learning can take hold and then bring back the results. Our attempt here is to make ArcGIS integrated with AI and machine learning and deep learning tools. It's not professed to be a machine learning tool in and of itself, although it has many of them functions in it. It's really to be open and interoperable to the emerging and very rapid growing science community around it. And you'll see lots of applications for this during the week. In the area of imagery, ArcGIS continues to support this vision of a comprehensive system for imagery and remote sensing, and it has four main things. It supports strong data management with servers and analytics. It supports visualization and exploration. It supports map production, like being able to take drone data, drone to map information, and produce orthomaps from it directly, and then doing various kinds of analytics. And here again, I just emphasize the deep learning capabilities here, and there'll be workshops on this during the week, is just showing up with lots of interesting things to do. In the last year, we added a capability called an image cube. This is really working with our colleagues at CSIRO in Australia, who invented a large spatial temporal cube for Landsat information. We took that logic and not only interface their cube, but also developed some basic capabilities in the system to do it ourselves as well. Okay, imagery is powerful. Last year, we decided to build an application, a web-based or cloud-based application called Excalibur, and this was for doing structured observation management. You might think of it as photo interpretation of things off of an image in a digital environment. It supports GIS views and image space views where you can sketch on either one and create data features off of the imagery in a low-cost web environment. This is a powerful tool for those of you who are interested in observing and managing structured data capture. Well, for me, one of the most exciting parts of this year has been the emergence of the extension of real-time capabilities to the cloud. So many of you know that we have a real-time capability called the GeoEvent Server and the GeoAnalytics Server. These are to take real-time information, to store it in big environments, and then do analytics. This has been extensions to the enterprise server, but it's been comparatively slower and comparatively not as scalable as the second new thing that I'm very excited to share with you today. And that is the implementation of a cloud-native capability for doing IoT measurements, connecting to measurement networks right into the cloud, and then being able to integrate that right into your work. I'd like to finalize my presentation with a few comments about the products, the vessels within which we put all of these different capabilities. And they're, in one sense, one system. ArcGIS is actually one system, but it has various manifestations in the desktop, in the server, with solutions for developers, that sort of thing. And I'll cruise through these quickly. ArcGIS Online is the cloud system, mapping system, location system that's completely SaaS. And most of you in the room use it. I won't spend a lot of time on it. It's highly performant, highly optimized for cloud environments. And some of the new things are listed here. Particularly, I like the new web map viewer, but also the ability to organize and manage large organizations. This is cool. What's coming this summer is the ability to do cross-organization collaboration, something that you've asked for, and also notebooks, the same Python notebooks, but implemented in the cloud environment. And also a really big one for me is hosted cloud imagery. So I can take my imagery and host it in ArcGIS Online. And that won't just come for free with ArcGIS Online. It'll require the paying something. Yeah, how do you say it? Because it's hosting the imagery, and we have to pay Amazon and Microsoft for that capability. But also we'll see a new generation of the web app builder called the Experience Builder that is releasing actually at this conference. The hub is actually an extension of ArcGIS Online, and this is all about citizen engagement. We used to say citizen engagement, but watching you implement hub, it's all about engagement, agency to agency, organization to organization. And this is rapidly growing in acceptance as an engagement technology. This summer's conference will be about GIS engaging, an engaging technology. We're going to feature it and feature some of the big things that are going on with it. ArcGIS Pro is the second basic technology that we build. This has been under development for the last 5 years. It is ultimately a replacement for ArcMap, but it has taken years to build up the rich capabilities that ArcMap has supported. It's now, in a sense, mature. It's gotten to the same stage of feature functionality as ArcMap, and I encourage all of you to begin playing with it. I think our numbers show about 65% have moved over, and it's powerful. In this release, this winter release, we also integrated in the Jupyter notebooks. And you'll see some of the big ones here: offset printing support, another name for color management, or spot color support in cartography. What's coming is more work on parcels, being able to trace hydrological networks. This is something USGS really cares a lot about. Better map graphics, and finally, these voxels, or three-dimensional, in-dimensional capabilities, supported both with visualization and analytics. Pro has a number of extensions, so you can glance through these. The ones that I'm most interested in is Image Analyst and also the ability to support unstructured text. It's called Locate XT. The third component of ArcGIS is Enterprise, and this is the large server environment that supports management and GIS across an entire enterprise with mapping and analytic tools. Here, we've introduced the concept of user types, which has allowed us to scale out, allowed you to scale out more effectively. The big change is reduced memory. This happened last summer. And the result of that is more services can be stood up with the same basic enterprise system, and less memory actually used. What's coming, as I mentioned earlier this summer, is support for Kubernetes, which enables microservices and very large organization management as well. Some of you asked for more intelligent search, and this has been an ongoing research project for years. We will see some of this happen later in the year, and it'll be implemented both in Enterprise and also in ArcGIS Online. Enterprise is intriguing because of Portal, one of my favorite technologies. Portal allows the interrelationship of different distributed servers. It allows us to synchronize data from one server to the other, or synchronize the items in one server to another, sharing apps or sharing views of the data, sometimes called maps. This is essential for building out this vision of the geospatial infrastructure that I've been describing. On top of ArcGIS, not a product that we sell, but a very active product that has hundreds of applications associated with it, is this category called solution templates. These are ready-to-use industry configurations for disaster management or cartography or emergency management, or the new one is this year protected area management, sometimes called PAM. These really get you going quickly. So if you're into a new space, these are open sourced, they're free, and they're also fully supported with the same level of support that our normal products are. Many of you build your own apps, don't you? How many here in the room build your own apps? I want to see. One. Come on, really. Okay. Okay, 733. Okay, good. Look, the web app builder has been very popular, is very popular, and it has resulted in hundreds of thousands of web apps that have been built. For the last 2 years, we've been working on a next generation of web app builder called the Experience Builder. And that's going live this month. And it's a new and more modern web app builder kind of thing, but it focuses on mobile first, it focuses on JavaScript 4, and it does 2D and 3D at the same time. Web apps with web app builder will not be obsolete, and you'll be able to continue doing it, but this is the next step in the evolution. Finally, in the right side, you'll notice App Studio. This is also a builder, an app builder technology. It allows us to build cross-native apps. So you build it on iOS and it runs in Windows and it runs in Android. And it's characterized as a no-code with template or low-code kind of way to build quick apps and compile them and let them go. Part of that is, listen carefully, part of that is a app player, which is an app. So your users can download the app player, put it on their device, and you can send them directly apps that you build. Isn't that cool? I don't know if you understand the implication of that, but from an IT perspective, it's a way to sort of jet fuel and edit and update the apps in your users' environments very quickly. ArcGIS is designed for developers. It does it in 5 ways. We have 5 dev environments, as they're called. And by the way, thank you, developers in the audience. That's about 10% of you, as I counted yesterday. We have a major program at Esri. It's kind of behind the scenes. We don't talk about it a lot, but it is focused on building strong technology that allows you to extend this enterprise platform. And it is in these 5 areas. Python notebooks I've talked about, being able to extend Pro with add-ins, being able to build powerful web apps with JavaScript APIs, and also runtimes. The runtime components are the components of ArcGIS that are behind things like Collector and Survey 123 and so on. And you can now develop your own using the App Studio apps and load and go. These are operable in both a connected and disconnected environment. So some of you will find that enormously attractive. And then Python underpins much of what's done in both the server and soon-to-be ArcGIS Online environment. I'll pick on JavaScript API because it's, of the 5 different types, it's one of the most popular. And with the new Experience Builder, App Builder, this is going to be really exciting. It allows you to do apps like web editing. It allows you to do apps like client-side map visualization and analytics. It allows you to do data-driven visualization at scale. And with the oncoming 5G pipelines, this ability to stream in data at scale and do it in a highly compressed way is pretty amazing. So that's what a few minutes ago I was talking about. It's going to explode out. What's going to explode out is web apps and apps inside of cell phones that have frictionless cost for building really substantial apps. Well, that's it for ArcGIS. Several years ago, we began building something called GeoEnable Systems. We're not going to build very many of these, but we're picking on a few. One of them is for indoors, one of them is for hub, one of them is for business, one of them is for urban planning, and one of them is for mission. We'll see various flavors of these over the next couple of hours, but let me pick on some visions about each one. Indoors is an integrated system for managing buildings and building complexes like university campuses or GSA buildings. It includes functions like wayfinding through them and support for room management. And many of our business partners have built apps that are associated with this that can really help bring the concepts of GIS into building environments. And these don't travel without the need to have a GIS professional that actually sets this up from a data perspective and actually manages it, but it's quite interesting to me. The second one is urban, and this is probably not for most of you in the room, but it's for urban planners. I want you to be aware of it because it requires GIS data to make it come alive, but it is an independent package that's designed for people who are not GIS professionals, that they can actually look at projects, evaluate projects, build out plans in context of various indicators, and incrementally test and evolve cities in a more effective way. The third one is Business Analyst, and this has been around for about 25 years. It's the idea, can we combine data and tools that respond to location decision-making or smart location decision-making? And this is on the web, it's in desktop forms, it's in server forms. And the reason why I'm bringing it up is that many agencies, like FEMA, for example, are finding that the content for demographics and segmentation and analytics that are associated with just very powerful for public service. And the last one I'll mention is a new one. This is called Mission. And not that we're going to build more of these, but I want to emphasize this one particularly. Mission is a project that we built, a system that we built in collaboration with one of our key partners, PAR Systems, up in New York. Their background is really in real-time collaboration around device-focused applications. And we have brought ArcGIS Server and their capabilities together into something that allows mission planning and mission execution and mission review to be brought together in one application. Very, very powerful capability. Again, there'll be sessions on this throughout the week, and I invite you to them. My final slide about technology is security and privacy. And ladies and gentlemen, this is an area that I think all of us are both concerned about and are focused on, and Esri as well. Our work here is in strengthening security across our platform in the form of ArcGIS Online with FedRAMP, and some new capabilities have been added. And second, to give our customers guidance on best practices through the Trust Center, the ArcGIS Trust Center, which I'm showing here in the slide. And finally, to share development practices that are common across the agencies. So a lot of work is going into this, a lot of work will continue in this with a security team, and I invite you to check the website out and work with us on it. What is next, actually? What is next? The perennial question that I face every year, what's going to be this year? What's going to be next in the evolution of things? In our organization, we have over 1,500 software engineers. They keep pushing their own research, but driven by your guidance and your feedback. These are some of the things that we have planned for 2020 and beyond. You can glance through them and see if there's ones that are of interest to you. There's a lot of staff here, a lot of the product management team is here, so I invite you to meet them. And then bring up issues where you're having pain or you have a vision that you'd like to really have us drive tools to help you do your work better.